What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Move Swiftly series, Coffee Conversation. It's your first time meeting me. My name is Aswand Cruickshank. I am your Move Swiftly speaker. Again, not your motivational speaker, but your Move Swiftly speaker. There is a subtle difference between the two, and I want to make sure I make that distinction because, today it's Friday. First of all, happy Friday to everyone. Hope you have an amazing day. I hope you're getting out, doing some great things. Hope you're meeting some great people and just living life, because too often, and there's too many people that I've met that take Friday as a day of relaxing, like a day of slacking off. I'll be honest with you, I'll never forget actually when I was in high school. I was doing my community service hours, and I did them. One of the years I did it at my sister's job at the time. She worked for this nonprofit named Metro Teen Aid, and I did my community service hours there and all that. And I remember it was a Friday, and the lady goes, it's Friday, I don't got nothing for you to do, really. So I basically just got there and just did nothing and, got my community service hours and all that. And sadly, that is kind of the mindset. The lady who actually told me that was an adult, and she's been in the business for a couple years. And that mindset is something that I'm hoping we can eradicate. I'm hoping that we can figure out ways to not have that mindset. One of my favorite authors is a guy named Seth Godin, author of Purple Cow and Linchpin and so many different books. One of my favorites actually is, he says, he has a book titled All Great Marketers are liars, and then he has a line through it saying all great marketers are storytellers. Like, he basically has the word liars crossed out and replaces it with the word storytellers. You have to know how to tell awesome when you like my shirt. Shout out to you, Eric Reyes, by the way. You have to have the ability to tell awesome stories. Stories sell, figuring out ways to tell stories and all that. But anyway, I'm getting distracted. Today, I want to talk to you guys. I want to touch on this just a little bit. Rejection, dealing with rejection. Because a lot of times, especially when we get to a day like today, which is Friday, a lot of times we've spent our life, there's people who spent their entire lives, and I'm around them all the time. I've been around them. I've worked a ton of jobs. I've been in several industries and so many different things that I've done. Too often do I meet people who have spent their entire life, every single day. It's almost like every single day they have two options. They can, go the route in which you can start this business, or they can start this organization. They can go after this job and go after this significant other, go after this person. And there's a good chance that as they're pursuing that thing, that person, that job, whatever it is they're pursuing, there's a good chance that that person will reject them. There's a good chance that job won't hire them. That job has so many different applications, all this shit. They talk themselves out of situations because they're so afraid of rejection. Or they can go into what feels familiar. They can go back to the girl or the guy that they know is going to say yes. They can go back to a job because their uncle works there or whatever, or they have a friend that hooked them up with a position. Whatever it is, all these things that happen every single day, and it's two choices every single day. You have to get better, you're getting worse every single day. And too often do I run into people, especially in this line of work, in which they are so afraid of rejection. And I want to just discuss a little bit about rejection just a little bit with you guys, because I can ramble and ramble and ramble. If you've been keeping up with these series, you know, once I start getting on a subject, or if you're a regular, by the way, if you want to dive deeper into my world, make sure after this video you subscribe to the Move Swiftly podcast. It's available on all streams. Make sure you do all that good stuff. I can't tell you the importance of figuring out ways and discussing ways and really getting to ways in which we are learning how to deal with rejection. All right. Let me just tell you, there's two words you have to, and again, it's unavoidable. You have to go through it. You can listen to me talk about rejection, and I can make you feel better about it. I could give you a great motivational speech. If you don't actually put this thing into practice, and if you don't actually go out and do something, you will never ever grow, and you will stay in whatever situation you're in, and you're never going to grow. All right. You will fail and be unhappy. You look back on your life 10, 15 years down the line, and you see people that you knew doing some incredible work, and you're stuck in some miserable 9 to 5. You're stuck with the same friends that you've had since you were a kid. You're stuck in a situation where you're not happy in your marriage. You're just stuck in a place in which you cannot get out of. And then you start drinking and you start smoking, and then, you're miserable. All because you spent your entire life being afraid to get rejected. Now, here we go. When you break down, when you think about, let me get a sip of coffee, because I'm already kind of getting fired up when I start thinking. Let me get a little sip of coffee. And I'm almost at the gym, so. When you're talking about rejection, when you're like me and you've been rejected on multiple occasions, here is the biggest lesson, and here's the most important lesson that I've learned through all of the things, all the bullshit that I've had to live through, all the bullshit that people have said about me, all the people that have made promises and didn't keep their promises, all the people that gave me their word. This is not limited to just females. I'm talking about males and females. People who've given me their word. Hey, I'm going to do this. Hey, I got you. Hey, Aswand, all right, I'll sign up. I'll be on the podcast, or I'll do whatever it is. If I don't have time to really tell you everything. I don't have time to tell you everything in which all of the things, but just know, when you grow up with a name, the name I have, my full name is Aswand Cruickshank. And when you have that name that's so difficult for people to pronounce, it's human nature. It's human nature. And that's the word I want to do. That's the phrase, and that's the thing that I want you to take away from this episode, all right? Human nature. It's human nature for people to reject something that they don't know. My favorite rapper is Nas. He says, people fear what they don't understand, hate what they can't conquer. Guess that's just a theory of man. They fear what they don't understand. So if I'm going to use myself as an example, when you're a kid and you have to pronounce a name like Aswand Cruickshank, it becomes something you don't understand. So immediately I get rejected. Immediately there's this, I don't want to do it. However, what I've learned in that process is I've learned about human nature. And that's what gives me the resilience that I need to be an entrepreneur. The resilience I need to be a great husband. The resilience I need to become a great father, and all those things, and all the things that the world requires as an adult. You need that kind of resilience, all right? Because it's human nature for people to reject you. Very rarely, it doesn't happen. It's not even realistic. It's not even realistic to think that people are going to be able to understand something that's brand new, that's difficult to understand right away. And when you are one of those few people that has no choice, listen, you can go and live your life in a very normal way, with a very easy to understand name or very easy to understand profession, and be the one that has a lucrative job, has all the accolades, and you will never figure out what you were supposed to do. In your heart of hearts, you will be very, very sad. I'll close you out with this example because, some of the feedback I've gotten, the little bit of feedback that I've gotten since I started, this is my first week doing these, by the way, is I want to try to keep these under 15, maybe on 10, between 10 and 15 minutes. And I'm seeing I'm approaching 10 minutes. So I got to get to the main story, the big story that I want to tell today. I work with kids. I've been working with kids for a long time now. I've been, even before I took the job at the Learning Center, I know how to deal with kids quite a bit, not only just because of my niece and nephew, but because I played football for so long, and we would have camps and we would do all these things. And my sister, like I mentioned yesterday, she worked at a daycare, so I deal with kids a lot. One of the things that would happen, especially, now, was when a kid gets a cut. I'd say maybe 4 years old and under, between 4 and 2 years old, they get a cut and they're screaming. It's like, they see blood and they're going crazy. So when I first started dealing, one of the things I did before, and this was before I learned not to do this, but I wasn't supposed to do it, but I did it anyway, is I took out an alcohol wipe and I put it on the kid's cut. And as you know, it burns. And initially, the reason I'm telling you that is because initially, when we get rejected, the idea of someone not wanting us for their job or not picking us to do something that we really want to do, it burns. It really burns. But when you think about it, right? If you don't apply that alcohol on that cut, is it ever going to heal? No. If you just simply, like a kid wants, right? All they want is a Band-Aid to have on because, the kids think it's cool. So when you think about your life, all right, and you've been cut, you got to apply the alcohol, let it burn so it heals. And then once it heals, you'll learn in your mind, I'm not going down that route because you've been burnt before. All right. The rejection is a part of life. If you can't handle getting burnt, if you are trying to avoid getting cut for the rest of your life, and then it's just going to keep bleeding. It's like if you can imagine taking a bullet hole and trying to cover it with a Band-Aid, it's never going to work. Are you prepared and are you ready to deal with rejection? That's the real question. All right. Or are you on this Friday? Okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to stay in a comfortable situation. I'm only going to, I'm going to go and do the same shit that I've been doing for every Friday for the past 30 years and all this other shit. Or am I going to go out, try to meet someone new or do something new or do something exciting this weekend and make it so I'm just out there living life. There's 8 billion people in this world. And don't worry about the few or the hundreds that reject you. I'll close you out with this quote. One of my favorite coaches ever is Mike Tomlin for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if you go on YouTube right now and you just Google Mike Tomlin camp speech, he said this to a group of young men. He goes, for every one person that encourages you, there'll be 100 that tell you through their actions or through their words that you can't do it. Don't listen to the people that don't. And you really don't got to listen to the people that do. You don't even got to listen to the people that do encourage you. Because if you really made the decision, you don't need encouragement from anybody. You're going to keep grinding regardless whether people like you or not. All right? Again, if you want to dive deeper into my world, check out the Move Swiftly podcast. It's available on all streams. Everyone out there, appreciate you tuning in to another series of Move Swiftly, Coffee and Conversation. You out there listening, continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon. Later.